Yeah, AI is scary. I wanted to make this video to kind of acknowledge and share the concerns that I imagine you have as well of what has happened over the past 2-3 years. It's been crazy 5-6 years right now, right? Since the COVID, since now also ChatGPT coming out. I remember the beginning when it first came out. I discovered it 1 month after its release. Maybe it was even a couple of days. I don't really remember it by now. I discovered it when I was still in university, and shortly before, let's say, the test, like a day before, something like that, somebody discovered this thing called ChatGPT from the class, and somebody shared it, and I tried it out, and it was very good at just explaining everything. It was very good for studying. It was insane. I realized then it could write the test better than I could. It was something very bizarre, something that you've never really seen before. I remember people were excited. It's like, oh, this is gonna make everything easier, right? For me, it was like, this is terrifying. This thing can, within a couple of seconds, give answers, and whatever, let's say, practice questions that were in the test, what would have taken me minutes, even dozen, maybe not even be able to solve it at all, takes them a couple of seconds, just bops it out, you check it, more often than not, it's the correct answer. It was insane. That was terrifying. If I can do this now with this app that's free, like, what's gonna happen now? Is everything gonna be redundant? I'm kind of big on overthinking. That's what I do, and I was already scoping it out ahead of time. What is this gonna mean? And over the years, it was crazy how it developed to be something even more. And now there's these leaders in AI that are saying how the future is gonna change, or we might have to rethink the economic model because there's going to be people without jobs, because so many jobs can be redundant, and we might have this general basic income that only a few people will have jobs. They probably will get all the money, and then there's other ones, the rest, who just have a fixed amount of money. And then does that increase with inflation, or what's going on here? Like, even that idea is terrifying. Would overtime mean that all of us have the same income, and what we can buy with that income becomes less and less? And how is it controlled? If it's controlled centrally, like, is there a way you can abuse it and just manipulate everybody? It's a lot, it's a lot. It's a lot to kind of take in. And yeah, I just want to acknowledge it. I mean, it's pretty scary for everybody. Nobody really knows where this is going, how severe it's gonna be, how to prepare for it. Should you even prepare for it? Should you just live as you are? Should everybody become an AI engineer? At the same time, there's obviously articles saying, oh, it's maybe too late now with, say, GPT-5, GPT-6. It's no use to get a PhD in computer science. Like, AI is going to be smarter than you could ever be. Even software developers, it might become a hobby, it might not even be a job. That's crazy. Let's acknowledge that. The kind of hype and the anxiety that people have around it would mean that it's fundamentally crazy. It's just crazy. It means a total overhaul of how we operate as a society. If it actually plays out in the way that the extremes we have, and maybe it won't, so because there is also now this kind of skepticism of how much hype does this actually have, because there are like articles coming out, consultancies saying that 95% of the agentic AI model projects do not actually lead ROI to anything tangible that makes them worth it. So what's gonna happen now is this is gonna be like a hype that was once thought to be very big, but it reaches limitations. Like, what's gonna happen? I think Sam Altman said this, but when he was asked kind of to compare, like, how are we all doing, like, what's going on here, he kind of replied to think back to the Industrial Revolution, when there were robotics that just came out, and most people did indeed do very hard factory jobs, and everybody thought, so this means we'll all get replaced by these machines, by these robots? And the answer, yeah, a lot of jobs did get replaced. Like, there's many of the factory work that is now completely automated. So yes, there were many jobs that were lost, but somehow, maybe it's just because I'm from a new generation, this is what I grew up with, and this is all that I know. It's all right, maybe it's not. I'll be honest, I'm a white collar worker. I might not know what it's like, there. Maybe it just hasn't played out, the automation, fully. So a lot of people are indeed scared. scared for their jobs. I don't know. But I have the perception that people have adapted. They've managed to adapt. And even though there was so much loss in the jobs and that were back then, there were new ones that were created, and people did adapt, and people are still earning income. The hype around this might have been even just as big as it was back then. So maybe we're just repeating history right now and just seeing the same thing, No one really knows. But nevertheless, it is scary. It is scary, let's acknowledge that. There are articles that come out that say we might actually have more time than we think. The AGI, artificial general intelligence, for those who don't know, something that can think like a human, a model that can prove itself, is further away than we think. It's not now, it's not GPT-5, it might be decades ahead. And right now, the capabilities that we have are quite fundamental, and they're not that earth-shattering as we think they might be. So let's see. And I imagine the Industrial Revolution, it did change a lot. The Second Industrial Revolution, it did change many things, and it did change how the world works, but it's not as terrifying. The reality is not as terrifying as I imagine the most extreme views were back then. So yes, listen, I don't have an answer. Even Sam Altman claims he doesn't have one, so nobody's really knowing exactly what's going on. Why I am saying this though, it seems very useful to understand and be on top of this. And be ready for it, to be one of the people that can adapt. Different scenery, my phone overheated, so the video stopped. But to get to the point, this video was to acknowledge that these fears exist and that you're not alone. Everybody obviously has them, but it seems essential to prepare for it. Whether this is going to be as big of a change as the Industrial Revolution was, or it will be less so, there will most definitely be changes in many of the jobs we do. Because think about it, when AI as let's say innovation started to really become something tangible, and it was promised kind of, it's going to replace all the technical tasks, something that's just time consuming like driving, logistics, all of that. Suddenly, it turns out that even the creative roles, such as writing, design, are the ones that are at most threat at this moment. Which is ironic, right? Because it's like you want to automate everything that we as humans thrive on. Creativity, it's something that we like to do. It's something that is fun. And for some reason, that's what seems to be one of the professions at most threat to be automated on. Yes, in a way, it doesn't mean everybody's going to be a designer. Everybody can be a designer with these tools, but it's a strange dynamic. And it seems dangerous not to adjust to it and just to ignore it. So that's what I want to do with at least the recent videos that I made. It's what I want to do also with the next videos I make. I'm not an AI engineer. I don't know how this technology works when you look what's under the hood. I just want to figure out how to make this useful and not just be affected by it, but to use it. And hopefully, by making these videos, you could do the same. You could also adapt. You can get inspired. You can maybe do the same thing that I'm doing to figure it out. To figure out how do we actually go about this. If that idea resonates with you, maybe check out some of these videos that I've put up here. Something also thematic over here. Subscribe. I'm planning to make more content like this. And yes, let's see. Honestly, let's just see. That's all we can do, right? At this point, so let's see. All right. Have a good one.